Welcome to Spotlight Sessions, where we shine a
What's
light
your
on
story?
incredible. What does accessibility mean to you?
What's your mission? Welcome all to accessiBe's Spotlight Sessions, where we shine a light on incredible individuals and organizations and the work that they do. I'm your host, Josh Basil. I'm a C4-5 quadriplegic, paralyzed below my shoulders, and a power wheelchair user. I'm the Community Relations Manager at accessiBe and a passionate disability rights advocate and trial attorney, focused on breaking down barriers to access and inclusion for people with disabilities. Today on accessiBe Spotlight Sessions, we're joined by Kiana Glanton, a Development Intern at the Lighthouse Guild. Welcome, Kiana.
Hi, Josh. How you doing?
Doing great. It is a great day. I'm with you, loving life, and just so excited to introduce our viewers to you, your journey in the Lighthouse Guild. So let's jump right into it. Can you introduce yourself and share your story?
Sure. I'm Kiana Glanton. There are two really awesome things that I'm pretty much known for, and as I am the 2024 Miss Blind Diva pageant winner. I won just 2 months ago, and I also am the co-captain of the Lighthouse Guild Lightning Blind Baseball team, and we are the bronze medal winners. So my story is one of being visually impaired, needing rehabilitational services and support, connecting with Lighthouse Guild as a patient, then becoming an intern, and then a paid intern and employee, and building bridges between clients and constituents here at Lighthouse Guild and the staff. So the work is continually needing to be done and updated, and really positioned in a pretty unique space that I'm able to connect the fundraising portion to the stories of people that are blind and low vision, to the people who actually use these services like myself. I use a cane, I use all kinds of adaptive software and equipment, and I know the grief of loss, of vision loss. I also am happily on the other side of celebrating diversity and resilience and all the cool things that we do in the blind and low vision community.
I love it. I love it. How did you first get involved with the Lighthouse Guild? And can you dive deeper and kind of more into your role?
Absolutely. 13 years ago, about, I needed services. I was fresh out of graduate school, and so many things were happening in my world, and I needed to learn how to begin to adapt and cope in my kitchen, in my home, travel. I needed some basic skills. I was a high partial, which means I still relied primarily on my sight, but I was most certainly visually impaired. And then that went on for some years of working at home and working for a very small company. But 5 years ago, my vision took a severe turn for the worse, where I lost a large amount of my usable vision. I also had become newly single and a new mom.
Oh,
And I had to then readjust and think about how I was going to raise this wonderful gift of a 3-year-old child. How I was going to do this by myself. Simple things. How am I going to cross the street to get her to preschool? So I reconnected with the Lighthouse at that time. And the two things that were most prominent were mobility services. I needed to learn orientation and mobility. I also needed to learn technology. And the technology piece is really important because I would be sitting in classes learning Word, learning Excel. And at the time, I was bodybuilding and lifting weights daily. And my teacher is an avid athlete at the time, my tech teacher. And he says, you know what? Why don't you come out to blind baseball in the middle of class, in the middle of learning how to use Excel and balance a checkbook or do a spreadsheet, whatever we were doing for that particular task? He says, why don't you come out and try blind baseball? And I was like, I don't know. I'm not quite proud to be blind just yet. I recognize that I am, but I don't want the attention. I don't want to look like the blind girl. I definitely don't want to be around a bunch of blind people. What are we going to look like? We're going to be all around with our sticks, our cane. I was calling it a stick at the time, not even a cane. Just I was nervous and uncomfortable, and but I'm competitive. So I decided to go out and try, and I loved it. And we'll skip to the part that's relevant to the question you asked me about my connection to Lighthouse. That relationship I built with my technology teacher, Ed Plumacher, turned into him saying, I know you're looking for work and you're still learning the skills and you need a lot more skills. I have graduate education, I have a bachelor's degree. He says, I think you should intern. Why don't you consider interning here? You can't intern in my office because we're not looking for an intern, but I know a guy, Brian Dever, in the development office, and they're looking for an intern. He's an awesome guy, and I know this isn't your field. My background is in psychology, and I have graduate work in Caribbean Studies and Black Studies at Stony Brook University. But you might find this to be useful to get some experience being back in the office after having not worked a traditional job for a really long time. I worked from home and I did contract work and I was working, but not since losing my sight. And then I connected with Brian. I interviewed and quickly got the job. And then my life just changed dramatically.
And how many years
And
ago
then
was that with Ryan?
I met Brian at blind baseball practice in 2022, the summer of 2022,
Right.
but I interviewed in the fall of 2022. Yeah, I interviewed in December of last year for an intern position, a very short internship, 13 weeks.
There you go. I love that. And so since your time with the Lighthouse Guild, has there been a memorable moment that's really had a lasting impact on you?
Two stand out. Once I got the hang of fundraising and really got my feet wet and found that I'm pretty good at it. I'm actually really good at it.
I love that.
We got the opportunity to start creating fundraisers and really breaking down silos and connecting with other departments here at Lighthouse to create more programming. So, blind baseball being a really big deal for me, I was thinking, how do we get the community engaged? Like, this sport is so interesting and important, and it requires sighted volunteers from the community and just people to volunteer. So, why don't we have a baseball clinic? Let's have something that we open up to anybody, not just blind and low vision people, but their parents, their children, their friends, their family. Let's open this up to the staff here at Lighthouse and let's show the community what we can do. Blind baseball is just the modality, but really when we come together, what we can get accomplished. This turned into a clinic maybe for like 20 or 30 people. We had 80 registered people out there for blind baseball. And then we got national coverage from CBS News came out, and they loved the story so much that the newscaster decided to play. So we have footage of her. It's really awesome of her trying the sport, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, this is so hard." I'm like, "Yeah, it is. It is a sport. It requires dedication and challenge, and it's so unique." And she said she just was so just really moved by the human spirit of what it took and how skilled. This is not just us out there playing and being silly. We're competitors. We're athletes, and so
You're going for gold.
that. Yeah, oh yeah. The hashtag this year is better than bronze. So we got the bronze. Now it's better than bronze. So that was also a moment. The second moment that was really defining is I decided to enter this pageant, and there's a portion of the pageant that is based off of crowd participation. We have a YouTube video that we have to share and get all these likes from. And I just remember everyone in this company, once I told them what I was doing, they were like, send me the link. And I didn't want to be inappropriate because, there's business time and there's personal things, and you shouldn't really be doing personal stuff on business time. But everyone was like, this is amazing. There's a pageant for blind women. I mean, and it sounds like an oxymoron because are we able to view ourselves and define ourselves by traditional beauty? Yes and no. But why not? Why not have a pageant for women who are celebrating who they are and the different ways in which we feel attractive and the different ways in which we engage with our femininity or with our community or with fashion? Why not? And so everyone in the building shared my link, voted for me, and really championed the cause of me being on this other side because I came through these doors 13 years ago in tears. I walked through these doors 5 years ago with a little girl, a baby, uncertain on how to cross the street. And now here I am interning, creating these programs and getting this attention. And it's not about me, it's about the community. I know what it was to lose my sight and feel lost. And now I get to help other people who are dealing with adapting to the new reality of blindness and low vision. So I'm kind of the spokesperson sometimes of Lighthouse Guild and what we can do when you try hard.
Well, you
You're
have
met with
a
support.
very powerful voice, and your actions speak so loudly, and what you're doing shaking things up, turning heads, turning ears, all the above. You're having people think differently and having the right conversations, which awesome. I love what you're doing, Kiana. It's amazing. And
Thank you so much.
and I know better than bronze is the theme of 2024. But so like being a medalist with Team USA blind baseball, kind of what
Yes.
really motivated you to undertake such a competition, and describe kind of what did it feel when you actually like got that bronze medal and placed?
Okay, what motivated me? Initially, I was just curious about the sport. At the time I was bodybuilding and I really loved lifting weights, but it's an individual kind of process of working out in the gym. I wanted to build community and I was interested and nervous and all those things. And I got to practice that very first day of trying out for blind baseball just to play, not to make Team USA. And there was another young lady. She and I were the only women there, and she was so cute. She was she had on hot pink sneakers and a Yankees jersey, and I was showed up in like workout clothes. I was planning on getting dirty, but I said, you know what, you go ahead, new lady, with your pink sneakers. I was so proud of her for taking pride in how she was looking. And so I noted that, like, next practice, I'm going to wear something cute. So then there came a point where we had to practice running from home base to first base. And the way in which you play this sport, when you run and you're on offense, which means you're hitting the ball, is we don't have the sight to see where first base is, but we use a sound. The first base makes an actual sound like a beacon. It sounds like a car backing up. So it's beep, 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 and you run towards it. So my first time running, I run 3 steps and I stop. My hands are straight out. So I'm demonstrating for you. My hands are straight out like Frankenstein. I run and I stop. And I run and I stop. And I pull my blindfolds up because I'm nervous and I run and stop again. It was horrifying, terrifying. It just was terrible. And it took me maybe 20 seconds to get to first base, which really should have taken me about 10 seconds. And then I just was like, "Ooh, that was scary." And I stood back and watched the other young lady run, and she ran it faster than me. And I said, "Oh no,
Oh no,
she will not beat me." I
not
mean, it's so arrogant of me to think so, but I really was like, "Oh no." After that, boom, 15 seconds, 12 seconds, 10 seconds, 9 seconds. And then I said, "I think I have found my thing." And so I was practicing, getting motivated. I became one of the stronger offensive players really quickly. Within 3 months, I was invited, 2 months actually, I was invited to try out for the national team. And I made it. I made the national team, only playing baseball of any sort for 2 months. This is not something I grew up playing. I wasn't on any team sports. This is my first time being an athlete. I am 39 years old and the mother of a 7-year old at the time. And this is my first time picking up a bat to really play. And I literally, no pun intended, knock it out the park. So I get invited to the Netherlands. I get support from the Lighthouse Guild, actually. They independently donate to 5 of the players that are heading to the Netherlands, and that covers my airfare. The hotel is covered. And so now I'm traveling to Europe for the first time, and I'm not paying for it. Just a little bit of courage went 3,000 miles away to Europe. So we're playing, and I make the first point of the whole championship. So I am on this huge high. We have on all white uniforms. I'm feeling very patriotic. I have on bright red lipstick. Like I am just fully red, white, and blue because I don't think I'm the most patriotic person when I'm here in the country, but there is something when you go somewhere else and you realize the privilege, you realize the education and the access and the things that we have that some other places don't have. And it's a sobering moment. The Netherlands was beautiful. I mean, beautiful country, but it just made me feel like if I'm going to be out here, I'm going to do my best to show them what athletes in the United States look like. I was the only Black woman on the team. I was one of 2 women who made the team, and we got that bronze medal. Now, to your point, what it felt like when we got that bronze medal, I have never been moved to tears during the national anthem for any reason, whether the Black American national anthem, whether traditional United States American national anthem. I've never, I stand there, I show respect, I listen, I reflect. But baby, you hear me when they played that song and I stood next to the UK who got the silver and the Italian team who got the bronze, and they played the Stars and Stripes. Tears, tears for every person who has had to try really hard and things were stacked against them. Tears for every person that's nameless and faithless that is an athlete or wants to be an athlete, for the blind women who are going to walk through these doors just like I did and just try to figure out, how am I going to cook for my family? How am I going to braid my daughter's hair? How am I going to read a paper? How am I going to get it done? I would have never anticipated being an athlete, certainly not at the ripe age of 40 years old. And I don't even think baseball would be the sport that I would pick. I'd probably be interested in track and field or gymnastics or something else that seems a little more exciting. But one person giving me the invitation and just saying, come out and try it, and me finding purpose and finding other people with their canes and with their very thick glasses or eyes that can't focus or vision that can't identify things, all these things that I said, I don't want to look like that. I don't want the world to see me. I'm embarrassed. These people came out, my teammates came out, and all of that aside became competitors. And really the human spirit and the team camaraderie and the passion, it overshadowed so much that I recognized that this idea of beauty and attractiveness and rightness and stuff that I had previously had was really stupid. What was beautiful was a friend who also is visually impaired, who has just a little more vision than me, holding my elbow and saying, girl, let's go this way. Both of our canes headed out and making sure we were safely crossing the street. That's beautiful. Beautiful is the Netherlands team having two players that are blind and in wheelchairs kick butt on that field. Do you hear me? The sport is challenging. Add being in a wheelchair. Two of them. They got the silver medal this year.
Yeah.
When I tell you this sport, it pushes you to want better and try harder and really discard those things that we thought were limitations. There's something beautiful about blind baseball, and it just was powerful. So standing up there in our very dirty white uniforms, because why would you put us in white uniforms? I have no idea. I mean, we're rolling on the ground, we're sweating, we're dirty, but that red, white, and blue stood so beautifully, and we were so proud. And they cut our music off a little short, but we got the message. We got the moment. Yeah.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's just so beautiful, moving, and just powerful. I can't wait to go for silver and gold in 2024.
That's right.
That's
right.
And if you could change one misconception about disability and disability community, what would that be?
I would change a few things, but the first thing that comes to mind is that we need to get rid of right and wrong. There's a right way to enter the building. There's a right way to cross the street. There's a right way to look. There's a right way to access things and to connect with other people. Because why are we a deviation from the norm? Because I'm visually impaired and have a cane. Who said that was wrong? Who said that I was strange for needing that? Who said that someone who has to use a wheelchair or someone that has a different way of being uniquely abled is different? I thought that I would look strange. I would feel weird with this cane. And I realized I felt empowered. I finally felt brave enough to go out on my own without someone. And so these ideas about what is beautiful, what is attractive, what's ugly, what's not, what's difficult, I put a lot of those restraints and those terms on myself, and nobody else did. Not once has someone said, "Oh my God, you're blind, you're so weird," or no one has said that to me at all. Those are things that I assume that people would think of me. Most people say, "I like your cane, it has all these sparkles on it." I have a blinged out cane. So most people will say, "Your cane is cute." Other people will say, "Are you really putting on lipstick to go to baseball practice?" Yes, I am absolutely putting on red lipstick to go to baseball practice because I care, because it's special to me, because I find power and joy in this. And let's reframe what is different. What's different is that I have decided to challenge myself. I decided to go forth no matter what. I decided to let resilience be a part of my day-to-day life instead of struggle. No, it's just challenge. We're all challenged in some kind of way. Mine just happens to be visual. So I would break down I would take away these words, and I would let people who feel like they're in the disability space or the uniquely able space or the accessibility space, I would let them define themselves for themselves. We're not broken. We're human beings with incredible spirits. I would also encourage people in the spaces that I am to share their stories with the people who aren't or who access the world differently. For me, it's sighted versus non-sighted because sometimes just a little bit of education goes a long way. I do not like when someone just comes up to me and assumes that I need help getting through the door. I prefer you to ask, do you need a little assistance? Hi, I'm to your left. Oh, that's a nice cane. Or the bus is coming. Do you need help reading the number? You don't know that I need any help at all. You just assume that I did because I present as though I have a challenge when some of us have become really skilled and really good at navigating and asking for help and really advocating for ourselves. So I love that we are telling our own stories. Here at the Lighthouse Guild, I am really blessed in that working here on the executive floor, I'm on the sixth floor, so this is where the CEO is, and the CDO and the CTO and all the C's, the C suite, if you will, they're up here, and none of them are visually impaired. So as they make policy and create programming and do all these things that are really important, they don't have the perspective of being actually visually impaired. So you're assuming that you understand what it feels like for us, or maybe you have years of skill and training in a particular area, and so you're a good project manager or you're good at technology. But when you involve people like me, when you hire my marketing manager who's visually impaired, or the development manager, or a volunteer director, coordinator, Chanel, who's also blind, when you have us as a part of the conversation, there's an authenticity that is created because we can tell you what works and what doesn't work. We can tell you where our needs are. We can be part of the process. When a blind person helps another blind person, it's powerful because we understand our needs. And so that's part of the push and the change that's happening here at Lighthouse Guild. We've done great work for over 100 years, but under the leadership of Dr. Calvin Roberts, our CEO, we are moving forward in technology, and we're involving everyone in creating more diversity, required and really necessary diversity for us to be as effective. The leadership should match and be reflective of the people that we support. And
Well,
so
everything you
I
said,
don't know if that answers your question, but that's
nothing,
my answer.
nothing about us without us, and that lived experience goes a long way. Um,
That's right.
I would
That's
love
right.
to know, I'd love to know what advice you'd give to online businesses wanting to do more around accessibility.
Sure. For online businesses, I encourage you, I implore you to contact people in our spaces to beta test your website, to find out the ways in which we are challenged when accessing information, whether you have bold font, whether voiceover works, whether if you're someone that is challenged in mobility or the use of your limbs and how you actually click and interface with websites, you need to have someone in these spaces try it out. And you need to hear from them. And that shouldn't be a luxury or a second thought. That should be part of the process when you're building these sites. Because just today, I was trying to log into a site to request that I wanted an electronic W-2 form when those come out. I struggled so much. I had to find someone sighted, I had to call human resources. And this isn't a building that supports the blind and visually impaired. And this is what we do. And I am still struggling. So I would encourage you all to have someone, you contact Helen Keller, Visions, Lighthouse Guild, any organization that supports the blind, specifically as it pertains to my lifestyle, and have someone beta test it. Have someone come out. Would you try this? We'll take you to dinner, or here's our fee, or would you volunteer? Would you give us some insight? What works best? What are the high contrast colors? What are the fonts to stay away from? What's a typical size? Do we have screen readers? You need to involve people from our community in your websites if you want them to be effective. If you want us to come visit your site, we'll make sure that it's welcoming to us.
I love that. And if you could pick one motto to live by, what would it be?
Diligence is always rewarded. Diligence is always rewarded. It may come later, it may not come in the form that you think at the time, but dedication plus hard work can change things. It can create brand new realities. And I always say technology is the great equalizer, but you got to practice at it. It goes back down to consistency and hard work. It will pay off. It'll pay off in multiple ways. And the more disciplined you become about being dedicated to something, that translates and transitions into every other part of your life. Me being an athlete made me eat better and work harder and be more communicative and thinking about outreach. It spread so many different ways. This one commitment, it made me a better person in so many other areas. And so diligence is rewarded. That's my quote.
I love it, love it. Kiana, thank you so much for being our guest today on Accessible Spotlight Sessions. Really enjoyed your insights, your voice, and all that you're doing. You're amazing.
Thank you so much. It's been a privilege and an honor to represent my community. Thank you for the work that you are doing. It is phenomenal. And really, when we tell our stories, there's something beautiful and powerful about that. Thank you for the invitation.
Absolutely. And to all of our guests, thank you so much for staying to the end. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and follow us at accessiBe_community. And as always, thank you so much, everyone, and for being on this journey with us. Till next time, take care. Bye, Kiana.